Assistant U.S. Attorney and a current professor at the Duke University School of Law. Thank you both so much for joining us and sharing some of your expertise with us. I'm going to start with you, Professor Joyner. This is the fourth indictment of former President Trump. This one is 98 pages long with over a dozen new charges against the former president. There's 18 co-defendants. What are your initial reactions to this particular indictment?
Well, first of all, it appears to be very thorough and encompasses a different kind of element into the prosecution in the form of the RICO or racketeering aspect of the case, which brings in a lot of conduct both in the state of Georgia and outside of the state of Georgia, which presents a different kind of picture than what is being claimed in the other prosecutions that the former president is confronted with.
Professor Stansbury, that RICO charge right there, for our average audience out there, how hard is, this is something that everybody who was indicted yesterday is facing, these RICO charges. How hard are they to prove?
Well, a RICO charge is not brought every day. This district attorney is very experienced bringing these types of charges and is known to bring these types of charges. Generally, what distinguishes a RICO charge, as we call it, is what's called a criminal enterprise that is engaged in a pattern of racketeering activity. So it's different from a normal conspiracy in the sense that it can encompass a lot of disparate criminal acts. So to answer your question, it really depends on the nature of those criminal acts and how hard it is to prove those predicates. Here, the district attorney has been very ambitious and has introduced a very sweeping set of allegations, apparently with the goal of giving herself a lot of different options in proving up that charge.
Professor Joyner, obviously, we're 3 years out from the election. It took a long time for us to get to this point, to see this indictment come down. A lot of people say they've been waiting for this Georgia indictment because they expected it to be pretty all-encompassing. Is it kind of what we were expecting to see come out of Georgia?
Well, I don't know if it is what I was expecting to see. It is certainly what I did see once the indictments came down. But it is clearly not only novel, but gives to the prosecutor a lot of evidentiary playroom in order to get in a whole lot of facts that otherwise would not be admissible in the regular type criminal case. And here you're able to bring in conduct that occurred in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Arizona, as well as what occurred in Georgia. And typically this is a federal prosecution prong that is used rather than one that is used by a state prosecutor. But as Shane mentioned, this prosecutor has an enviable record in dealing with RICO prosecutions in the past.
And Professor Stansbury, there's a lot of talk in this Georgia case about that one phone call with the Secretary of State there that former President Trump and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows were on, where Mr. Trump allegedly said, "Find me these votes." When we're talking about a phone conversation and this kind of thing, is this tough evidence to get a jury to be able to say that actually happened?
Well, for any phone call, for any tweet, for any kind of communication you're going to introduce at trial, prosecutors are generally going to want to give context to that phone call or that tweet or that message. So what we're seeing right now is a set of allegations. We have not seen all of the evidence. All of this, it must be said, still has to be proven to a jury. Juries can interpret communications in many different ways. So as a prosecutor, what you want is potentially corroborating evidence that could be a cooperating witness, for example, who brings that context to the table. So many different people can read the transcript of that call and make their own conclusions, but ultimately it's going to be up to a panel of ordinary citizens and their interpretation of that call. And I would assume that the district attorney is going to want to bring in witnesses who can bring, not only with regard to that piece of evidence, but bring as much flavor and context to every piece of evidence that she's introducing.
I have some more questions for you guys, but we do have to take a quick commercial break. We're going to be right back with more on former President Trump's indictment yesterday in Georgia.